Go ahead, put it on real tight. Hope you brought your best tonight. They say they got the fireworks, yeah, they say they got the show. Here around the chutes, you're the best, so let's go.
This is Texas Toast, a production of TSC Entertainment. I'm your host, Miss Helen. Kick back and enjoy as we toast the best from Texas.
Hey everyone, welcome to Texas Toast. And a lot of you hear me talking about my small town where I came from. Of course, I'm a Sealy, Texas girl. And I was so excited when I discovered Carson Jeffrey. He got booked for the podcast and he is from my home county, Cat Spring, Texas. Hello and welcome to Texas Toast, Carson Jeffrey. We're like kindred spirits. We're like home people.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me. I sure appreciate it.
I know everyone there has to be so proud of you. And of course, let's kind of look at your background first. I know that you rodeo.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yep. Grew up rodeoing. That's pretty much all I ever did. You know, I quit school sports at a young age, and rodeoing was the plan. You know, music was never in my scopes at all. It was just always wanted to rope. And when I got into college, you know, things kind of took a change, and here we are.
Right. And so that's my question. When did you discover this voice that you have?
Sure. You know, I've always played guitar from, you know, early junior high days, and just fiddle around with it really, and got into high school and started writing some songs and stuff. And, you know, kind of starting to follow around the Texas music scene and really going out. You know, I was old enough to start going to shows on my own throughout high school, and really just falling in love with the Texas scene, the Texas music scene. And when I got into college, you know, I'd had some more songs written and started doing some open mics and just small little acoustic gigs just for fun, really. And my last year of college, I recorded an album just for fun. Really, my friends said, hey, you know, you got all these songs, you need to do something with them. Let's hear them. So, you know, I made the album just for friends, basically. And, you know, one of the songs, Ranch Girl Dream, really took off.
Yes,
And,
that was Muchos Sonidos.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And, you know, the rest is history. It wasn't the plan, but then it took off. And I was like, you know, if I don't try it now, then I'll never try it. So here we are.
Yes, here you are. And you have an amazing voice, an amazing sound. And
Thank
let's
you.
talk about Muchos Sonidos a little bit and Ranch Girl
You
Dream.
bet.
Did that get released to radio?
It did. It was a little bit later on after the album came out. I don't think it was too much longer, but several months after the album came out, we did push that to radio. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then another one I liked on there was Walk Away. That's a good one.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. We still play that one every night in the set.
So as far as rodeo and where you come from, I feel like that influenced your music a lot, but who are some of your musical influences?
Sure. First and foremost, it's cross Canadian ragweed. Went from a very early age. You know, I was 7, 8 years old, something like that, and riding around in the back seat of the truck with my parents on the way to lunch or on the way to, you know, if we were going to see a movie, wherever we were going, I would be in the back seat, and I had either my CD player or we actually had one of the trucks where you could put like 6 CDs in at one time, and you could listen to the different CDs in the back seat. And my uncle had given me every single cross Canadian ragweed CD that they had made up to that point. And that's all I listened to on repeat over and over and over, was all of those cross Canadian ragweed CDs that he gave me. And that was my first influence and first really Texas country influence, was cross Canadian ragweed. And then, you know, later on I found Ryan Bingham in later junior high, and then in high school I found William Clark Green.
Okay, that's yes. You, especially with Wine and Weed, which we'll get to your your EP, but Wine and Weed reminds me, that's so William Clark Green. I could so pick up on that in that particular single.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no, he was one of my favorites in high school, and yeah, still an amazing artist. You know, I love his music. So
Oh yeah, he's such a good guy. I've interviewed him so many times and I'm an absolute huge fan of his. So I guess when you were in rodeo, did you get to see a lot of live shows also when you were doing some of your rodeo, or like maybe all the people that come to Austin County Fair?
Yeah, Austin County Fair. I actually saw Cross Canadian Ragweed there one time. Man, I was really little when I got to see them there, and I also saw him at the Washington County Fair one time whenever I was in probably junior high, later junior high. But I didn't really get to. There weren't many shows I went to on the road whenever we were rodeoing through high school and college. I always showed up and roped and left. I think that living in College Station helped. At the
Mhm.
Tap and Harry's, and going to live shows there. And anytime I wasn't rodeoing, it seemed like I was going to a live show, watching a concert. So it was never at the same time, but um, yeah, if I wasn't rodeoing, then I was going to see some concert somewhere.
So when did you realize you had the gift of songwriting? I mean, what was your first song like? Did you take it to your mom and dad? Did you write it? I mean, like, tell me about when you first started writing.
Right. The first song I ever wrote, I had to write it for a class project actually, as I was a freshman in high school, and we read Romeo and Juliet, the book, and
Mhm.
we had to like do some kind of creative, like some people built like a diorama of Romeo and Juliet. Some people painted a picture of it. It was some kind of creative aspect of Romeo and Juliet, and I wrote a song about Romeo and Juliet. And I think that was my first song I ever wrote, and I couldn't even tell you all the words to it right now. But that was the first time. I think that was the first song I ever wrote in ninth grade, and I just kept writing songs from there on. I still to this day, today even, I'm just trying to write better and better songs because I don't think I'm the best songwriter, and I think I have a long ways to go in my songwriting. So every day I'm still trying and trying.
Yeah, and you'll grow and grow, but I can tell you that your stuff is really like exclusive writing. Like some of your lyrics I've listened to when I went through your music, it's like it's really different. But I do have one question. Did you go to Sealy or Belleville?
I actually went to Faith Academy.
Or Faith Academy? That's a
Yes,
great
ma'am.
school.
I
Yes.
did. Yes, ma'am. I went to Faith Academy, graduated from there. I went to Sealy until fourth grade, and then fourth grade on, I went to Faith Academy. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, I had to check on that. Sealy girl had to check on that. So yeah. Another song that I like that just I picked up on is your single Tall Boy.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me
Yeah,
about that
that one.
one.
Sure. Actually, me and my girlfriend had just started dating, and this was last summer, I believe, last May, June, something like that. This time last year, and we had been to. I played a private party out in. She's from Fredericksburg, Texas, and I played a private party right next to her hometown in Johnson City, Texas.
Hmm.
And so we were just staying out at her house that night since we were so close there. I went and played the private show, and we had a couple of drinks, and had a great time with the people. Private shows are fun, when they're really fans, and you get to play for a small crowd like that enjoys your music. And we were on our way back to the house, and she said, "Why don't you pull in and get a tall boy?" So
Oh, I
we
love it.
pulled into the Fredericksburg HEB, and I bought her a Cayman Jack tall boy. And yeah, the rest is history on that song. I mean, it's just a honest songwriting little song. So,
See, I love stories like that because that song it's in my library now because I love that one. So talking about your shows, you're out playing and I see you're consistent with your shows now and some of
oh
the
yeah,
great people you're playing with.
yes, ma'am. Yeah, we're going down the road. It's been crazy. We signed with Red 11 booking agency last June, like this week, last June, I believe. And so ever since then, they have really put us on the highway. Even during COVID, when things were shut down this time last year, we were still a small enough band that we were able to play in smaller venues, up in Oklahoma and in Texas and stuff. Whereas, guys like Cody Johnson or Parker McCollum, they weren't able to play, because they were playing stadium shows.
Right,
And,
right.
but man, Red 11 has really put us on the highway, and it's been great.
Do you still rodeo or do you miss it?
I do miss it a lot, actually. I still rope at the house here during the week. Monday through Wednesday when we're home. But actually, I entered a rodeo about a month ago in Wimberley, Texas, and ended up winning the calf roping there. And then I entered up at Stockdale, Texas, 2 weeks ago. Won second there, and then about 25 minutes later, I walked on stage and opened up for Mike and the Moon Pies and Flatland Cavalry. So,
Okay, you were following my thoughts because I was thinking, I wonder if he's still rodeoing, and then if he like does his business and then gets on the stage. That I had that question for you. That is
yes, ma'am.
so awesome.
Yeah, there's so many of these county fairs and stuff that have rodeos with them and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple more in the fall that I think I'm going to be able to do that as well. But yeah, it worked out perfect. Roped my calf, 1 second, had dirt all over me, and walked on stage and got to open up for it was Mickey and the Motor Cars we opened for,
Mm-hmm.
and then Flatland Cavalry, which both just great bands, and that was my first time opening for both of them. So just a great night. It was a really neat night to be able to do that finally. I've been waiting for that to happen.
Oh my gosh, Carson, you're amazing to think that where you're from and that you could go from the rodeo arena and jump on the stage.
Right.
That really sets you apart. And I love your sound. I love your music. And so you
I
have
appreciate it.
that EP out now, Buzz Brain Part 1.
Yes, ma'am.
And I love Wine and Weed.
Yes, ma'am. So I actually wrote that with a buddy of mine, or I didn't write it with him, but he came down to my house, and he stayed like 2 days, I think. And we wrote a couple different songs. And then the morning that he was leaving, he was walking out of the driveway, about to get in his truck. And he goes, "Hey, got this song idea." And he's like, "Wine and weed."
Wine and Weed. I love it.
Wine and weed. He's like, "I don't know what you want to do with it, but just do something with it." And I was like, "Well, you should have told me like 2 days ago while you were writing down here. We could have wrote it, But anyways, I got to picking around, like, I don't know, it's probably like a month later, maybe even longer than that. And because I didn't think much about it, and sat down and picked around on it, and ended up writing it probably like in 20 minutes or so. And it was a really fast song. And I like my Boone's Farm wine, and he likes his Rocky Mountain weed. And so I kind of just put the two together and made it a song. And I originally wanted him to do it. I wanted him to record it and everything. Leroy Gibbons and everything. He's the one that wanted to record it. And but it ended up us recording it. So and we put it out. I wasn't too crazy about it. Putting out a song about wine and weed, but
oh, it's awesome.
I think it worked out. We enjoy playing it at the live show. It's fun. So we're all about the live show. Trying to make songs that are good for the live show, but then songwriter stuff that you can relate to, and kind of have slower songs as well. So
yeah, so I want to go to the live shows, but first I have to back up. You actually drink Boone's Farm?
I did. So my first days of
because
college,
all of us also, that must be an Austin County thing, because
I love Boone's Farm.
That's what we drink on the back roads.
So many people are like, "Oh, Boone's Farm, I don't like that," but I love it. I have diabetes now, so I had to slow down on that sugary stuff. But I love Boone's Farm. It is good.
We
the
always
blue
like
one. Blue and red. And
we always had now back in my day it was a tickle pink, and then the strawberry, whatever it was. But I remember I liked the tickle pink, and it can get you in trouble though.
Oh yeah, it will. It'll sneak up on you for sure.
But that is so interesting. I haven't heard anybody talking about drinking Boone's Farm in so long, because now everything so much about craft beer and Shiner beer and this and that. So I love that. That's just so typical country. So talking about your live shows, what's your set list like?
Yep. It's a pretty good mixture of all the album, or both of the albums. And then we've actually been playing Wine and Weed, as well as Love Me the Same. We've been playing Wine and Weed since last December, and Love Me the Same we've been playing since March. But it's a pretty good mixture. You'll find on my albums and on the recordings that it's a little more. Some of the stuff is a little more country. It's got some fiddle in there, and it's got some steel guitar. But we don't have that at the live set. We replace that with just electric guitar and try to just pump it up a little bit more, because that's why I was so attracted to people like Reed Southall, William Clark Green.
I hear them. I hear them in all your songs. Yes.
You know, it's when you go to one of their live shows, it's a upbeat, fun time. It's rocking, you know, and that's what we try to do. We try to just keep the energy up with the guitars, and we don't have a steel player or a fiddle player or anything like that. You know, we just try to make up for it in the guitars and keep the show rolling. So, and but speaking of that, you know, the EP part 1 that I just put out, it's got some, I call them, they're a little bit faster, a little bit upbeat kind of. Wine and Weed's not so upbeat or whatever, but this second part, EP part 2, it's going to be a little bit more songwriter stuff, not acoustic, but you know, the songs are going to be a little more slower and you know, a little more deeper in meaning too. So, you know.
So you have some new songs that'll be coming out.
Yes, ma'am. So Buzz Brain Part 1 was just half of the EP. We're going to release the second half. We're shooting for around September or so.
Okay. That's
yes,
what
ma'am.
I wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yes,
Well, you
ma'am.
you definitely have it going on. I love your sound. And I even feel like a little co-Wetzel. Like you've got this mixture. Like if you were on Chopped, you would probably win. Go into the pantry, like you know, you got different things from the pantry or this or that. I don't even know why I'm going there, but I am so impressed. Like the first time I listened to your music was kind of like the first time that I fell in love with, say, Wade Bowen or William Clark Green.
Right.
Or I mean, like you definitely are on the road. You're doing such a great job, and just keep up the good work.
I appreciate it. Yes, ma'am. We're trying.
Oh, you're doing a great job. Just keep doing what you're doing. And so before I let you go, we always have a question on the podcast. If you were a cocktail, what would you be?
A cocktail. Ooh. I don't know if you consider a martini a cocktail, but there's this one restaurant in Galveston that's got a key lime pie martini, and that's pretty good. So.
Okay. That'll work. I think we had somebody else even say martini one time. But seriously, like I'm so proud of you, and I'm really especially proud of you because you're an Austin County boy, and my roots run deep back to the 1800s in that county. Of course, I'm in Matagorda, Texas now.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
Fish all the time. Have you been to Matagorda?
Yes, ma'am. We've actually we've got a place down in Sargent. My family does. So yes, ma'am. My family's been on the coast for many years too. So we're always back and forth over there.
Yeah, it's so funny because some of my longtime classmates came down, and we were almost to the point to where I think we could have, between all of my Austin County friends that have a place in Sargent or Matagorda, like we could just have a big reunion right down here.
Right. Absolutely.
So anyway, well, Carson, thanks so much for joining us on Texas Toast. I'll definitely be following you, and hopefully I can get out to one of your shows and see you live.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. We hope to see you there.
All right. Thank you, Carson.
And with a heavy tongue, she knew where I was from. As she left, I dared to say, well, you can go to hell. Hell, I'll go to Texas. I've had my fill of every place but home.